How does Penn State play for a national championship game? Zach Seyko of On Nittany Lions is here to discuss. You told me before we hopped on here, Zach, that playing with a lead is the biggest way Penn State gains an advantage. Why?
I mean, absolutely, because the statistics back it up that Notre Dame is just not a passing team. Riley Leonard is okay at best when it comes to being a passer, but then he also doesn't have the best weapons to throw to. And I know that's kind of me throwing stones in a glass house because Trey Wallace and Amari Evans could be better. Now there is Tyler Warren, right? They don't have a Heisman contender as a pass catcher in that offense. Jeremiah Love's a little banged up. He's going to play, but he's not going to be 100%. And something I don't know that people have talked about enough, Cooper Flanagan, who's the second tight end in this offense, is an able and willing blocker. So he is a key component to the ground game. So the ground game just takes a step back in a semifinal game against one of the best teams, the best team that they've faced at this point. Penn State's better than Georgia. This is the best team that Notre Dame has faced. And now Jeremiah Love is not 100%. You don't have one of your additional blockers that you go with that goes with your bread and butter part of the game plan on offense. Howard Cross, best defensive lineman, is a little banged up. And then Riley Mills was lost for the season against Indiana, who's their best pass rusher. So if Penn State can force Notre Dame into obvious passing situations, somewhat get them to play from behind the sticks, and just get that defense out there on the field, because Notre Dame's defense has been great to help set its offense up for success. But what if the offense can't just do its job accordingly, and then the defense has to be out there for longer drives? Penn State gets more opportunities to get into rhythm. So that's where it starts. And then just be balanced, be creative on both offense and defense for Penn State. Offense can't be vanilla. Defense certainly can't be. It looks like Abdul Carter continues to trend in the right direction. He is going to play. You got to create a specific game plan for just him. I would put him on permanent QB spy for Riley Leonard. If you can put him as a permanent QB spy for Riley Leonard,
You would take him out of pass rush situations or the ability to blitz him from different spots?
well, that's what he would be doing. He's already done that this season. He's done that as a sophomore and as a freshman. He would basically be going back to his original role as just being this freelance off-ball linebacker, but you can move him all around the formation. I just don't know with that upper body injury. We don't know if it's a shoulder. We don't know what extent it is, but getting contacted every single play by a 320-pound offensive lineman probably isn't good for the longevity of that game. So just do something that's a little different. Create a newness where it's okay. Instead of special pass rushing situations, how about you do it the entire game where Riley Leonard, you take away his legs. Okay, then what?
So this Notre Dame offense, I've described it as non-one-dimensional in that I agree, don't throw the ball well, but the way that they run the ball doesn't always look the same. They'll give you different looks. They'll use some motion and be creative. They will run Riley Leonard a lot. I think with Jadarian Price leading the way in that backfield, potentially if Jeremiah Love isn't able to go, I think you see a lot of Riley Leonard running the football in this game, maybe as much as you have seen all year. That's a guy who I think in this spot is going to be willing to put his body on the line, in harm's way, do whatever it takes to win the football game. But what's your confidence level that Penn State can take that away to build an early lead?
Well, there we go. That's where Abdul Carter comes into play. Riley Leonard is going to see an increase in workload. He is your second best. He's RB2 in this Notre Dame offense.
Yeah, literally, statistically,
Yes.
by the way, he is their second leading rusher.
So, and I'd say he is the second most trustworthy rusher, slightly ahead of Price, slightly ahead. But in this offense, with the way that it works, the balance is Jeremiah Love, and then your second go-to option is Riley Leonard. So if Penn State can find, I think the way that Penn State swarmed Ashton Genty, do that for Riley Leonard. Swarm him. Make him get rid of the football. Make him, I know he's not going to be scared to keep the football, but make him second guess himself. Abdul Carter charging in off the edge unblocked, and you gave it off too late, and then he's still able to legally tackle you because he didn't know that you weren't going to be the ball carrier on that play. Just kind of you can set the tone early, but he becomes that key factor in the ground game. I respect Jadarian Price. I think he's a capable running back. He's somebody that if he does break off those big plays, then maybe you adjust a little bit. But I think, like Penn State swarmed to Ashton Genty, swarmed to Riley Leonard.
Why do you think Notre Dame is favored in this game? That opened around 1.5. It's moved up to 2.5.
Oh, there's a lot of factors here. I mean, Notre Dame is it's 1.5 points. If this was 4 or 5, I'd be a little more skeptical here. It is a pick 'em in my mind. I did say that Penn State should be that 1.5, 2 point favorite in this game, and
Oh,
I
it is
think
back down to 1.5. You're right.
yeah. So I think Penn State wins. Right. This is a coin flip. Why Notre Dame? A variety of factors. We also need to think of this from the mind of Vegas, the betting, the odds makers, that they want to be able to generate 50% of the betting, and they know that they can move lines that aren't necessarily in reality, if you will. They might be more so perception. So I don't think that Notre Dame is necessarily the valuable play. I think there's some extra points there that Vegas is kind of getting a bonus on the back end for itself.
I have Notre Dame winning this game 21-17. I don't think that this gets to be a shootout. If it does, I take Drew Aller over Riley Leonard unless Notre Dame is just absolutely gashing the Penn State defense. But you mentioned that Notre Dame is banged up, and yet I watched their defensive line against Georgia create or really start the biggest snowball sequence of the game at the end of the first half. It's 6-3, it's 13-3. Then a special teams return to begin the second half. Boom, it's 20-3. That's what this Notre Dame has been. They have been timely, situationally. They have been very good. Marcus Freeman, I think, has been clever in certain areas, like running 11 guys on and 11 guys off. Kirby Smart says you can't do that, but guess what? They were able to do it right then and there. So that's kind of the reason that I trust Notre Dame. Is I do still like their defense a lot against this Penn State offense. I think that Nittany Lions offensive line has to play the way it did against Oregon in the Big Ten title game.
They need to do a better job than they did against Boise State. Let's say that. And what Oregon likes to do defensively with Al Golden, who's a former Penn State
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Right.
Yes.
Notre Dame likes to do a lot of shifts, stunts, twists. And with Al Golden as that defensive coordinator, he just basically causes so much confusion. Guys if they really get that's why I say Penn State can't be vanilla. They're going to have to do different cadences. They're going to have to do different motions to kind of counteract and say, okay, if you're going to try to time up our plays, then we're just going to shift things differently to kind of match what you were doing. Al Golden is a former Penn State guy. I mean, this game's going to be personal for him. I don't expect anything but his best in this game. Notre Dame, since Boise State had that success in blitz situations with the way that they were able to run their stunts, Notre Dame can certainly have that kind of success. I imagine that's not a skill issue, that's a communication issue. So that's going to be the focal point of Penn State practice this week. If you struggled with it against Boise State, you're going to make that the emphasis this week, going up against a Notre Dame team that does the same thing but better.
After getting off to a hot start, your top key to Penn State winning the game and your score prediction.
The top key goes back to what Penn State keep a balanced attack, get Riley Leonard off kilter. It's simple. It's easier said than done because Notre Dame has a top 5 defense objectively. That's why I can't say, just go score a bunch of points, run all these different plays, and you'll score 30, 40 different. No. You're going to get into a rock fight. Every possession is going to matter, and it is the semifinal. This isn't a game where it's not as inconsequential in the regular season where you can overcome one loss like both teams did. And in this game now, it doesn't matter if it's 3-0 or if it's 45-42, but if it is a 3-0 type of game, that is a win. So I'm saying that you're going to get the fact
3-0, man. When was the last time a game even finished with that score?
Something in the NFL, right? Bad weather. I don't know. Not in college.
I'm just thinking of like Iowa. Iowa's got to be involved in it, right? They have to be.
Yeah, I mean there was 6-4 in 2002 against Penn State. Iowa did win that game, but that's what we're talking about. 2002. 6-4. How the times have changed. But you're going to get a top 5 defense objectively in Notre Dame going against a top 10 defense in Penn State objectively. But this is just a different team that Notre Dame has not faced a balanced, capable type of team that plays complementary football. This is the best quarterback that they've faced. This is the best running back tandem that they've faced. Oh, but Georgia, SEC champion, that is not the same Georgia team. Gunnar Stockton was not ready for that game. They got them out.
I don't know if Gunnar Stockton was a problem.
But they got out of their game plan. That was not a Georgia team that was going to win by, passing and playing from behind in this air raid type of offense. They needed to play in a 1-score game, and Notre Dame had built a lead with bad coaching by Kirby Smart at the end of the first half, and then a key kick return. Those are outlier plays that you're not always going to get every single time. But if you do get them in this game, Penn State's not out of it. Penn State can come back. They can play from behind. They can play in a shootout. They can play in a rock fight. That's why I like Penn State here, 24-20. They can just win in a variety of ways. Notre Dame is just a really good version of a team that wills its way to victory with its blueprint. If you get them out of their blueprint, I'd like to see how they adjust, because I think Penn State can do that. They have not faced a team like Penn State this season.